Hello everyone, in this video we will show the features and the configurations of an Odoo module joint calendar, which was created by faOtools. Joint calendar is a tool which allows combining different Odoo events in one or a few configurable super calendars. Odoo users often need to keep in mind a lot of details spread out among numerous interfaces. Switching between those is not comfortable for planning. This tool solves the problem. The app lets configure rules to join and share various document types on a single super calendar view, but with easy reachable source objects. Let's start with configuring an Odoo shared calendar. As I said, the tool might merge any Odoo document type on the same view: opportunities, meetings, activities, sale orders, and so on. You can configure as many calendars as you need. According to the company's needs, you can combine all required documents into one calendar, or divide them logically into several ones. For example, you can create a sales calendar, and include everything that relates to sales. Or you can create a various calendar for all documents. To create a calendar, go to Settings, Joint Calendars, Calendars. Click Create, introduce the title, in our case it is Various Calendars. The module supports multi-company environment. You can choose the company of the calendar. Then you can add some rules. When you add rules to the calendar, you specify which model should be presented in the calendar. This allows keeping rules logically divided in several calendars and conveniently switch between them. So the calendar will not be overloaded. We will talk about rules a little bit later. So let's add all the rules that we have. Then click Select. Now we can go to the tab Settings. Find the Setting Active menu. If it is turned on, the entry for this shared calendar will be available under the menu Events. Otherwise, the calendar will not be shown and you will not be able to access it. It is useful when you no longer need a calendar but don't want to delete it yet, as it is still might be useful later. In case you have the related add-on, you can turn on the Gantt view. We will talk about it later. Optionally, add the sequence. It defines the order in which the calendars are displayed in the sys-tray. The calendar which goes the first has a lower sequence, so the calendar with sequence 20 will be displayed before the calendar with sequence 50. The sequence may be also negative. For example, let's say 10. For each calendar, you can set access rights. The calendar may be either public, seen by everyone, or private, seen by a particular user group. It is possible to add as many groups as necessary. It might be particularly useful if you want to create a calendar for a particular department or team, so they will be able to control the related events. It is also possible to set limitations to make events update faster and consume system resources efficiently. For that, tick the box Time Limits and set days before and days after. So only events within this time range will be shown in the calendar. By default, the events are shown 10 days before the event and 30 days after. Let's extend the period to 60 days and 30 days. If you remove the tick from the box Time Limits, then all the events will be shown. Set the alarms to be warned before the events start. You can either set an alarm to be added automatically to all new events, or you can set an alarm manually to a particular event. It is possible to add more than one alarm. Let's say notification 1 hour and 15 minutes. Joint Calendar uses standard Odoo calendar reminders to alarm users. There are 3 ways to notify users: through the standard Odoo pop-up notification, by an email, or by an SMS. Credits are required to be able to send SMSs. And in the field Remind Before, you can choose the time before which the notification should be sent. Or you can choose among the preset timers. Here are the available ones. When you are ready, click Save. And here is our calendar. And here you can see the included rules. Now let's discuss joint calendar rules and how to add them. To add a new document type to the calendar, we need to create one or several calendar rules. Rules define which Odoo objects should create events, which fields of that object should be used and shown, and whether any filtering should take place. By setting a rule, we give the instructions to the module, which fields to use to get the information we need. You define by your own what to consider a joint event title, start or stop date, who are target attendees, and so on. You can have the same document twice on the same calendar, just with a different start date. So let's create a rule for purchase orders. For that, go to Settings, Joint Calendar, Rules, and click Create. Type rules title. In our case, it's going to be purchase order. As a model, use purchase order. This field defines the target document. As a name field, choose order reference. As a start date field, you can use, for example, confirmation date. It defines when an event starts. As attendees field, let's choose, for example, responsible user. You can also set the stop date field. It defines when an event is shown as finished on the calendar. Let's say it's order deadline. Optionally, you can choose the whole day field or tick the option always whole day. All generated events created with the rule will last the whole day, disregarding whether start or stop are defined with hours and minutes. Such an event will be shown at a special place on a calendar. Optionally, choose a description field. It shows the notes that the event has if there are any. As a contact link, let's choose vendor. And as our module supports multi-company environment, we should specify the company field, so it could distinguish whether the record relates to one company or the other one. And it is possible to filter the records to show only suitable ones. For example, let's add a filter. Total is more than, let's say, 1000. If we create a filter total is more than 1000, then only the orders with total, which is more than 1000, will be considered for joint events. And here are all the records that match this filter. If the field is left empty, then all the records will be used to create events. Action is a technical field, so there is no need to change it. You can find out more about this field in our detailed documentation, and the link you will find in the description. When you are ready, click Save. So we have created a rule. Now let's add it to our calendar, various calendars. For that, just open the calendar, click Edit, then add a line. Choose the rule, click Select, and then Save. If you want to delete a certain rule from the calendar, you just need to click on the cross by it. And here is our calendar. And here you can see the included rules. Users may access Joint Calendar through the Interface Events menu. Each super calendar has its own history button. Thus, you can choose among the created calendars which one to show. As the user clicks on the super calendar menu, he/she sees joint events on a monthly timetable. It is possible to switch between the daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly view. However, keep in mind the time restrictions in the calendar settings influence the periods for which the events are shown. On the right navigation bar, you see a smaller calendar that allows quickly move to the required date. For that, just click on any day that you want to see. Click once to see the events in the weekly view, twice to see in the daily view. Use arrows to show the previous or next month. Here you can also filter joint events by a joint rule, so by an actual Odoo model. For example, to show only activities or to show only sale orders. Manually created joint events, not linked to any Odoo object, would be available under the filter Undefined, without the color. To create a joint event manually, just click on any day. Introduce the event's name, then click Create. The undefined event will be available for the same calendar from which it was created. Also, below the filtering by models, you can apply search by actual joint event attendees. For example, if you wish to see only your events or of the events of a certain colleague, just tick a box by the required person. Also, you can see everybody's calendar by putting a tick by the option Everybody's Calendar. You can add a new attendee by clicking on the button Add Attendees and choosing the person. It's only up to you what attendees to keep. You can delete the ones you don't need by clicking on the cross by them. However, you cannot delete the default one, Everybody's Calendars. Use Odoo Standard Omnibox in the top right corner to search by subject, description, contact, or company. You can access the main information of an event right from the Events app. Simply click on any event in the calendar to see its details. Click on the Edit button to change the starting or ending date and time of the event, contact, and alarms. Joint events and their source documents are interrelated. Update the former and the latter will be changed according to the system schedule. Changes in the event card will lead to changes in the source document immediately. However, the read-only and computed fields cannot be changed. So if you try to change such fields, the changes will be reverted with the next scheduled job. If you click on the parent object, then you will be redirected to the source document. You can also delete an event by clicking on the Delete button. That will not result in the deletion of the source document. Joint events can be seen differently by various users, depending on their access rights. There is no need to configure any additional roles to see the events menu. If a person has an access to one of the calendars, then the events menu will be visible for this user, and the corresponding calendar's title will be added to the events sys tray. If a user has no access to see a particular calendar, then it will not be visible. Keep in mind that if there are some calendars but a user has no access to any of them, then the events menu will be hidden for this user. Access to the calendar doesn't guarantee that a person will see all the events which it includes. Users may observe only the events to which related objects they have access rights. Thus, if a user has the rights to the object and the calendar, then he or she can access its linked joint event. Sometimes there may be some undefined object. An undefined object is an object which was created right from the calendar. It has no parent object and it's not regulated by a rule. You can see all undefined events by putting a tick by the rule Undefined on the right side of the interface. All people who have the access to see the calendar may create and see its undefined events. The right to create and edit joint calendars and rules belongs to the system administrators. The module works not in real time. The events in the calendar are updated regularly according to the system schedule. It is possible to set any update frequency. However, it isn't recommended to make it more often than once in 5 minutes. In case you have a really huge number of objects, it is better to do the update even less often, so Odoo had enough time to process the events list. If necessary, set calendar limits or add filters in the rules to create only matching to the conditions events. To change the frequency of merged calendar refreshing, turn on the developer mode, go to Technical Settings, Automation, Schedule Jobs. Find the job Refresh Joint Events. To change the frequency of Super Calendar's update, and find the job Notify About Joint Event to change the frequency of email alarms. You can also launch the events update manually. From the calendar settings by clicking on the button Generate Events, and from the user's calendar interface by clicking on the button Refresh. After the update, don't forget to hardly reload the browser page by clicking the buttons Ctrl-Shift-R. If you have the Odoo Joint Calendar Gantt installed, then in the calendar settings it is possible to turn on the Gantt view. In this way, you can have a single super Gantt view for various Odoo documents, tasks, time-offs, manufacturing orders, quotations, and so on. As you open the Events menu and choose the calendar, in the top right corner above the calendar, click on the second button to switch to the Gantt view. From the Gantt view, by default, you see the attendees on the vertical scale and either dates, days, or time on the horizontal scale. You can select various searching and filtering criteria to limit the numbers of shown events. For example, you can show only events related to the contact Azure. Apply various grouping options to create different hierarchies of grouping by clicking on several options one by one. To remove the grouping, just click on the cross by it. Instantly access information about any event by hovering over it. To view the event, just click on it in the calendar. There you will be able to see the details of the event, change its starting and ending date, add remove alarms, and so on. Also, you can change the date and time of the event by drag and drop. To create an event manually, click on the plus button. To remove an existing event, click on the button Remove after opening the event. I hope this video will be useful for you. Feel free to contact us to try the module in the demo instance. See you in the next videos.